Today I'm going to show you how to take all of your photos that you took the last 2 rotations and put them into one poster in Adobe Photoshop. The first thing I need you guys to do is go ahead and take a look at which number MacBook you took from the computer cart. This is important because you're going to want to make sure you grab the same computer every time, because all of your images are going to be saved to the downloads folder on the specific computer that you grabbed. So you have to make sure to take the same one every class period so you don't lose your photos. The first thing you need to do is go ahead and open Google Chrome. You're going to go into your Google Drive and you're going to open up the folder that you put all of your alphabet photos into. So here you can see some of the photos that I'm going to use for my alphabet poster. We need to go ahead and download them onto the computer so we can insert them into a Photoshop document. The easiest way to do this is choose your first photo, hold down the Control key, and click Download. Okay, so you're going to need to do this for every photo. Since this is just part of a demonstration, I'm not going to download all of them, but you will want to download all of yours at the same time so you can insert them into your Photoshop document. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is go ahead and open Photoshop. So the easiest way to open Photoshop, if it's not down here on your toolbar, you're going to go ahead and use the little magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner, and you're just going to start typing Photoshop until Adobe Photoshop CC 2015 comes up in your search bar. If this isn't an option for you, make sure you get me to help you get a computer that does. So I'm going to open Adobe Photoshop. Most of you will probably not be very familiar with Photoshop, so I'm going to try my best to make sure that you know at least the bare minimum of what you need to know to accomplish this project. So the first thing we need to do is click File and start a new document. So when you click File, New, this screen will come up. You're going to name this document your last name, Alphabet. Okay, so McFadden Alphabet is what I'm going to put. The size is going to be 11 inches wide by 17 inches tall, because we're going to make a poster that I'm going to print for you at the end of the semester. So I have McFadden Alphabet as the title. My width is 11 inches by 17 inches. Everything else I can leave the same. My background contents is going to be white, and that just means I'm going to have a white background. So here you can see that I have the whole document. Command plus will zoom the document in. Command minus will zoom the document out. Okay, so now I am going to go ahead and open some of my letters so I can insert them into this document. I'm going to click File, Open, and then right here you can see my Downloads folder. This is where your letters should have downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on my letter A, and in this window I can go ahead and do any cropping if I'd like. If the crop tool isn't already selected, it's this tool right here. Okay, so this is the tool to crop your photo. Now I need to go ahead and rename this layer, because if I put this image into my big poster and I don't rename it, it's going to make the next steps really difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that background layer, and where it says layer 0, I'm simply going to name it A, because that's what letter it is. I'm going to click OK. So now you can see over here in my layer panel that the letter A is named A. This is going to make it so much easier when I have all the alphabet on the big poster document. So the next step is to take this letter A and to put it in my McFadden Alphabet document. I'm going to go ahead and Control click on my layer. So that's important. You have to select the layer and Control click. I'm going to click Duplicate Layer. And then here you can see A copy. You can leave it A copy or you can just call it A. And then where it says destination, the document, you're going to choose your last name and the alphabet. So now if I click the tab where it says McFadden Alphabet, you can see my letter A is now in the document. So now I'm going to close that letter A. I You can save it, but you don't really need to. I'm going to click Don't Save. I'm going to do this process over. File, Open. I'm going to select my next letter. This one happens to be the letter R. I'm going to double click where it says background. I'm going to type the letter R, select OK, and then I'm going to Control click my layer again, duplicate layer, and I'm going to move this onto McFadden Alphabet. Okay, so now if I go to McFadden Alphabet, you can see the letter A, but you can also see the letter R. So it's really important that we named these layers, because if I want to move either one of these items, I can't do so until I select which one I want to move. So to move an item, I'm going to click this little arrow with the crosshairs on it, and I have the letter R selected. I can go ahead and change the size of this letter. And then if I click and drag it, I can actually move it all over. So here's the letter R. If you click the Shift key and then pull on those little arrows, it will keep the same proportions. If you don't, you can stretch it really tall or really wide, but I want to keep the same proportions. All right, when I've got it the correct size and I've moved it where I want it, I can hit the little check arrow. And then here you can see I have the letter A and R. So I'm going to do this for one more letter. So I'm going to close the letter R. I'm going to click File, Open. And then let's choose the letter M. Okay, so there's my letter M. Remember, you can crop this image if you'd like to. You might also notice that all of my photos are in black and white. Yours might not be in black and white. It's okay if your pictures are in color, or you can change them to black and white. But if we change them all to black and white, we're going to do it in one go at the very end, and I'll show you how to do that. So I have the letter M, I've cropped it. I'm going to double click on my background layer, change this from layer 0 to the letter M, click OK. Then I'm going to Control click, duplicate layer, and I'm going to move this letter M onto McFadden Alphabet, click OK, and I'm going to click my Move tool. Here you can see it's underneath the letter A and the letter R. So that's why you couldn't see it, because the layers were underneath. What I could have done is selected my letter M, click the checkbox. I can select my letter M and I can move it to the top of my layer panel, and then it'll appear on top of the other letter instead of underneath it. Okay, so now you can see I have the word arm on my poster. You're actually gonna want to put your letters in here in order. So as you can see, I don't have every single letter of the alphabet saved in my folder, but at this point, you guys should have every letter of the alphabet. So you're gonna wanna do this in order. So it's gonna go A, B, C, D, E, as many as you can fit. Don't worry about getting them all to fit perfectly on the poster right now. The only thing I want you worrying about this rotation is downloading your pictures to the computer and opening them up in Photoshop, renaming the layer, and inserting it into this big document. So when you're ready to save for the end of class and put your computer away, you're gonna go ahead and select File, Save, and it's gonna ask you where you wanna save this. So I'm gonna save as, and this is gonna say McFaddenAlphabet.psd. You want to make sure it says .psd because that means it's a Photoshop document. You want to be able to open it back up in Photoshop. So you're not going to change anything here except for where you want to download it. So I am going to download mine to the desktop. Okay, so download to the desktop. That way I know where to find it for next class. And then I'm going to select Save. And then I'm going to select OK. So now I've saved my document. So if I close my letter, I don't need this anymore, I don't want to save that, and I close Photoshop, here you can see that I have my alphabet document right here. So next class, when I take my computer out, I need to make sure I grab the same number computer. I can go ahead and open up this document and it'll open Photoshop so I can continue up working where I left off.